Setting, a luxurious mansion dining hall. The grand chandelier cast a golden glow over the marble-floored dining hall. The long mahogany table stretched nearly 20 feet, adorned with silver cutlery, crystal glasses, and gourmet dishes prepared by the estate's private chef. Everything gleamed, everything but the mood. At one end sat Mr. Blake Harrington, the CEO of a multinational company, dressed in a crisp navy suit, his phone beside his plate, blinking with unread messages. A man used to controlling boardrooms, stocks, and mergers, but utterly helpless before his own daughters. At the far end of the table sat Lila and Lana, 5-year-old identical twins with blonde curls and wide, sad eyes. In front of them were colorful plates, mini sliders shaped like animals, spaghetti twirled like nests, cupcakes with edible glitter. But none of it touched their lips. They just poked and swirled the food with their forks, silent as shadows. The chef stood nervously in the background, wiping his hands on his apron, stealing glances at the girls' untouched plates. Mr. Harrington finally broke the silence, rubbing his temple. "Mr. Harrington, frustrated, you have to eat something, girls. We've tried everything." Lila looked up, then Lana, both their eyes glistening with the same pain. Their voices came together, soft and broken. "Twins, quietly, we miss Mommy." A sharp silence followed. Mr. Harrington's stern face softened for a moment, and he looked away, swallowing the lump rising in his throat. The clinking of silverware stopped. Even the chef turned his eyes to the ground. This was more than a refusal to eat, it was grief, lingering in every corner of that perfect room. And all the money in the world couldn't fix it. Not yet. Setting, a modern office inside the mansion. The sleek, glass-walled office inside the Harrington mansion buzzed with quiet tension. A marble desk sat in the center, framed by floor-to-ceiling windows that offered a view of the garden beyond. Behind the desk sat Mr. Blake Harrington, tablet in hand, scanning profiles like resumes were stock reports. Lined up along the corridor outside, more than a dozen professional nannies waited, their uniforms pressed, portfolios in hand, some clutching degrees in child psychology or culinary certificates for kids' nutrition. One by one, they entered. One by one, they left, each one more polished than the last, yet none able to melt the frost in Mr. Harrington's gaze. He didn't want credentials. He wanted results. His daughters hadn't eaten properly in weeks. And nothing had worked. Just as he was about to end the interviews for the day, the door creaked open again. A soft knock. In stepped Maya. No resume. No professional outfit. She wore jeans, a faded cardigan, and a simple ponytail. But her eyes, they held something different. Calm, kindness, and an almost maternal warmth. Mr. Harrington raised an eyebrow. "Where's your application?" Maya smiled gently, clasping her hands. "Maya, I don't have a degree, sir. But I've raised my little brothers on love and lentils. That's all I have." There was silence. Something about her tone made even the assistant outside pause. Mr. Harrington looked her over, skeptical but strangely intrigued. After a long moment, he set the tablet down. "Mr. Harrington, reluctantly, we'll try you for a week." As Maya nodded, a quiet shift passed through the room, the kind of shift that whispers, something is about to change. Setting, a breezy rooftop garden at sunset. The sun dipped low behind the city skyline, casting warm orange and pink hues across the sky. On the rooftop garden of the Harrington mansion, usually quiet and underused, a gentle breeze rustled the ivy along the railings. Tonight, the space had been transformed. A soft blanket lay stretched on the grass-like turf, surrounded by flickering fairy lights strung across potted plants. Instead of silver trays or polished plates, there were jars of peanut butter, jelly, fresh bread, cheese slices, and fruit, all spread out like a treasure chest of choices. No pressure. No rules. Maya knelt on the blanket with Lila and Lana seated beside her, their tiny fingers fumbling with slices of bread. It wasn't perfect, jelly-smudged cheeks, crumbs everywhere, one sandwich missing a top. But it was alive. It was joyful. Maya laughed gently as Lana tried to cut her sandwich into a star with a cookie cutter. "Close enough," she said, and the girls burst into giggles. Maya let them lead. She didn't force them to eat, she invited them to play. Soon, little bites turned into full mouthfuls. The girls, who had barely touched food in weeks, were now licking jelly from their fingers, sipping juice from cups with paper umbrellas, and taking turns feeding each other. Lila, grinning, "This tastes like fun." Lana, mouth full, "Can we eat with Maya every day?" Maya looked at them, her smile full of quiet love. In that moment, the rooftop wasn't just a garden, it was a healing space, a sanctuary. From a distance, Mr. Harrington stood by the stairwell door, unnoticed. He watched them quietly, and for the first time in a long time, his heart softened. Setting, nighttime. Thunder rumbles outside. Rain lashed against the tall windows of the Harrington mansion. Thunder rolled in the distance, and the occasional flash of lightning lit up the darkened hallways. The storm outside echoed the quiet grief still living within the home. Upstairs, in the girls' shared bedroom, Lila suddenly sat up with a small cry, her face damp with tears. Her tiny hands clutched the blanket as another clap of thunder shook the room. Within seconds, Maya appeared in the doorway, holding a small lantern. Her eyes instantly found Lila. She rushed to her side and wrapped her arms around the trembling child. "Maya," softly, "Shoo, it's okay, sweetheart. I'm here. You're safe." Lana, awakened by the noise, sat up in the other bed, her voice barely above a whisper. "Lana, Lila always dreams about the hospital, the last day with Mommy." Maya gently pulled both girls into her lap, rocking them as the wind howled outside. There was silence for a moment, save for the rain. Then Lana looked up, her eyes heavy with a truth she'd been holding too long. "Lana, we stopped eating because, after Mommy died, no one sat with us like she did. No stories. No songs. Just quiet." Maya's heart ached. She cradled them closer, brushing their hair back from their foreheads. Lana, whispering, "Mommy used to sing while we ate." A tear slipped down Maya's cheek as she began to hum softly, her voice warm and full of comfort. Maya, singing. "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine." The girls leaned into her, their breathing slowing, their eyes fluttering shut. For the first time in weeks, peace returned to their sleep, not because the storm ended, but because someone finally stayed through it. Setting, breakfast, a few days later. Morning sunlight poured gently through the tall windows of the mansion's dining hall, casting golden reflections on the polished floor. The same long mahogany table stood in the center, but today, something was different. It wasn't the setting, it was the feeling. Lila and Lana sat at the table, their faces glowing with joy. Giggles filled the air as they playfully held up forkfuls of pancake to Maya, who sat between them, laughing along. The table was a beautiful mess, syrup spills, berry stains, napkins tucked into tiny collars, but it was the happiest it had been in months. Just outside the doorway, Mr. Harrington paused, briefcase in hand. He had come down expecting silence and worry, like every morning before. Instead, he found life, bright, warm, and loud. He stepped in slowly, almost hesitant, as if afraid the moment might vanish if he moved too fast. The twins saw him and waved, their mouths full of pancake. "Lila, Daddy, Maya eats pancakes too." Maya looked up, a bit embarrassed, brushing a crumb from her cheek. "Good morning, Mr. Harrington." He didn't speak at first. He just stared, not at Maya, but at his daughters, now happy, eating freely, full of energy. His expression softened. He slowly took a seat at the table. Without a word, Maya reached for a plate and gently served him a helping of pancakes. He looked down at it, then at her, then back at his daughters. His voice cracked slightly as he spoke. "Mr. Harrington, I thought they needed food, but they needed family." A tear welled up in his eye, and this time, he didn't hide it. For the first time in a long time, he didn't feel like a CEO. He felt like a father.